Welcome everybody to this week's video chat on YouTube. We've thought about what we would like to discuss. We're getting a lot of information from people, a lot of questions, and so we've decided that we'd like to talk about contact and how contact can affect people differently, why contact occurs, what are the types of contact, what people can do about contact, and where's the pathway forward for people that are being contacted as well. So how would we like to start this?
Just by saying really that we've always worked with people in helping them understand their experiences. But more recently, probably because of the UAP disclosure, that number of people has increased relatively dramatically, I'd say.
Exponentially.
Yeah, people finding the strength to come forward and start seeking help. People that have been isolated on their own for years with what's been going on with them.
What I find interesting is that while everybody's arguing about whether UFOs or UAPs or whatever exist, the people that have been abducted, have been in contact with other races, really sort of just, they're so past that. There's no discussion about whether there's any craft. It's more like, well, hey, I've been, doing this for 40 years or 50 years or whatever. And between us, we've got 100 years experience. It's pretty interesting stuff. Watching the whole social media just discuss
unfold,
or watching it unfold. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I guess from my perspective, when I think about some of the things that we're being asked, we need to, I guess, lay some groundwork. What are the types of contact or abduction processes that are taking place? And when we talk about abductions, we're talking about multiple races, not just the greys, as everybody seems to point out. So there's a couple of types. One is an etheric contact or an abduction where a person's asleep or even watching TV. This is the thing. And they can be contacted, and the person sitting next to them wouldn't even know that it's taking place. That's the first thing, because it's all done etherically.
And just to say on that, the person being contacted, although it's been done etherically, they would have probably no idea that it was being done etherically to them either, because even etherically feels very physical.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing is the screen memory overlay that would take place as well. So the person may be sitting there watching anything or doing something that doesn't require them to really move. They're being contacted. They have a screen memory overlay, which is a type A screen memory, but they don't remember what's taking place. And then once it's finished, they just continue on, and they don't even know what's taken place. It's pretty sophisticated stuff. It's I think the more we look into it, and even our own contact, the more we're starting to understand just how sophisticated this really is. And to try to understand the nuances of all of this, the intricacies of everything, I think it's going to take a lot for humanity to get past this, to understand the variations to contact as well.
Yeah, everybody has their own story, their individual experiences, and there is no one answer that fits all, not even 2 or 3 answers that fit all. Individual stories, individual answers. Complicated.
Well, like I said in the other vlog about screen memory technology, is why are they using it? And I think it's really important, because this is the next step. So, one, why are people being contacted or abducted? That's the first thing. And then, why are they getting screen memory? So, people are being contacted for various reasons, but generally it's because the person's a hybrid. We always say to people, listen, ask yourself a question. Where were you before you were born? And then where are you going after you've finished living this human existence? most people at that point will say, oh, I've had dreams about existing as an extraterrestrial, or I've had dreams about being in craft, or I've done this and that. Doesn't mean that every dream you have about craft, or whatever, means that you're a hybrid. But once we start the discussion with people in our counselling processes, what we've noticed is that there's a chronological order to everything that's taken place with the person.
Yeah.
And that they may not even have seen the pattern themselves. And sometimes the patterns are so diverse that and disjointed that it's difficult to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And I don't think that anybody really has all of the answers to this at this point. At some point in the future, that will happen, but not right now. I think it would need full disclosure for that to take place. Why are other races taking people? Well, that would be up to that race why they would come and visit, either their incarnated hybrid or not incarnated hybrid. That's really up to those races. In regards to screen memory, well, it's more about the 4 different types of screen memories and why they're instigated during contact. The concept that I've always talked about is the local mind, the construct of the mind, which is the filtering process for the higher self. And that construct is tenuous at best and doesn't take much to destabilise. And so generally screen memories are used to stabilise the construct. It's like putting Band-Aids on an injury. The Band-Aids, some are meant to come off, others aren't, and as some are permanent as well. So screen memory technology plays a very important role in contact, whether people would like to believe that or not. Some people would state, we're up front here, is that they're hiding their intentions, that they're not showing what they really want to do. The physical reaction that most people have when they're in a contact situation is one of fear. I've spoken about this before, but it's, if you want a quality connection with a being, you're not going to get it if you're terrified. That's the first thing. So they may be using the screen technology as a initial process to get a person on craft. And we know that they use type A processes for doing that. Yet they also use the type C, which is the transitory screen memory, which is the temporary one, which can drop off within the next day or 20 years later as well. So
yeah, and of course they use that because they said if they're working with people to hopefully develop some sort of relationship, there's no point hiding it forever.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so where to from here? The problem with contact is that it's not clear, and it's not clear for anybody. The people that are in it, including ourselves, it's very difficult to really nail down what's taking place. You would spend a lot of time, and the issue is also if you get hypnotized or hypnotherapy for regression, the possibility of your mind creating and adding to the screen memory or the original memory is significantly high.
Yeah.
So that's a real issue. So what do you think some of the effects are?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, some of the biggest problems people are dealing with when they come to us is the effect of their contact on their daily life, dealing with the isolation and feeling of helplessness they have, because obviously they can't stop it. No one can stop it. And the social stigma that comes with trying to reach out to friends, fear of being mislabeled as crazy or insane, not being able to talk to family members about it, trying to have to put a brave face on it, go about their daily lives, trying to contain all the fear that a person holds when they've just got no idea what's going on, other than something that probably shouldn't be or just isn't normal in their world.
Well, here's something for you. What do you think would be a normal response when extraterrestrials come into your house if you're asleep and you wake up?
If you wake up, you're terrified.
Yeah, and what would you do you think, or what do you do when they?
Well, I was never able to do anything. I'd wake up with the old sleep paralysis, or what I believed was sleep paralysis. There was nothing I could do. You just have to hope they black you out quickly so you don't remember anything else. So there's just nothing you can do.
Well, what about just some people say, why can't you just jump up and grab your iPhone?
No, for all the reasons I've just said. you know, when these beings they come into your space, and you don't have the training to manage your emotions or deal with the frequency changes that come about, or the last thing on your mind is taking a photograph or picking your phone up and reaching for help or trying to call somebody, or if you have got any ability to move or speak when they're with you, the person next to you is not going to be able to wake up. I'd say probably 9 times out of 10, that person has been, made to sleep a lot more heavily in whatever way they've done that. They are not going to wake up. You're on your own with it.
Don't you think it's interesting that, think about this. You've woken up and you're seeing an owl. Now, you generally don't even question seeing an owl, or here's the other one. It looks like there's headlights coming through the house, but of course there's no road behind the house. And next thing you know, in your mind, you're going, oh, look, there's a car driving towards the house.
Yeah. They will try, won't
they? Definitely
they try to keep it normal for you. They try to keep it so that you don't get scared.
What about there's a rabbit?
Yeah, 6-foot bunny rabbit.
A 6-foot bunny rabbit or a clown.
They will take images from a person's mind to try and present themselves in a way that isn't going to frighten the person. If they're to have a degree of contact that's going to leave some conscious awareness of it. Obviously, the age you're at when that happens, it's going to be different.
Well, here's the other thing. Imagine trying to explain to your family what's going on in your life. And to do it so that they actually sort of think that you're still sane on some level. Or even if they do believe you because they've had some experience themselves, that then both of you or 3 of you have no idea what's going on.
We see it all the time.
And we see it.
And I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, sure. All right. So obviously, with the amount of people that we're working with, we've had to start different groups. And do you want to talk about those groups?
Yeah, well, it really depends on where a person is with their own journey in all of this. Some people aren't ready to speak in a group. Some people need private time to get to a point where they do feel like they can open up in a group environment. But we find that the group environments do provide those people that have been absolutely on their own with it for so long, a really safe, supportive place for them to discuss and share their experiences without fear of ridicule and all the other things that go along with it.
Well, from what I've noticed is that a common theme is people don't want to talk about it to anybody because they've been experiencing this for so long. Yeah. They think that it's not possible that anybody else could understand what they're saying. The isolation of it just drives people to think that they are the only ones and that no one else on the planet would know. Yeah, that's right. And that's a pretty interesting concept that people do feel that isolated. Yeah. Yeah. We try to work with people to give them a pathway forward with it all. You can't stop these contacts, but you can learn to understand to some degree why the contacts are taking place. And we do offer people a way forward to help with that. Yeah. What I find interesting is also is when people tell me that they stop their own contact. And then when you start talking to them, you find out that their contact actually hasn't stopped, but they don't realise that it's still continuing on, just that their mind now believes that they don't have any contact. I would, for myself, I would prefer to actually know that the contact was taking place rather than have inserted my own screen memory. Oh, this isn't happening anymore. It's not possible. It's a very, very difficult subject. I can see why a lot of people would avoid it.
Well, we've both been there, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's the thing. We've both been from a point of not understanding anything that's going on around us to working through the fear, taking some degree of control over our emotional response to the beings when they come. You've got a much better handle on that than I have. And then being able to develop a connection, a two-way connection with these beings. It's taken you, how long has it taken you?
Oh, I don't know.
Your whole life, pretty much.
I think I came off the boat with Noah or something.
You reckon?
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure.
It's taken me a long time.
Yeah, and that leads into things like disclosure. I mean, when people talk about, we're all going to have disclosure, it's just not going to happen the way that people want, because the first thing that would have to take place in regards to disclosure is that all the people that are being contacted or abducted would have to be validated in what's taking place. What do you do with a population on a planet where possibly 50% of the people are being contacted?
Yeah.
That requires another level of thinking. People are very excited about UAP, UFO disclosure, not understanding that the ramifications of that are, well, now we've actually got to look at what's really going on here.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, that's probably much bigger than disclosure itself, because then that opens up that whole range of contact issues. Of course, it would be easy for the races to just explain it away, saying, well, okay, everybody's a hybrid, we've been contacting them, and everybody would just, have to accept that, I guess. But where to from there? Where does the contact then stop for everybody? Or does the contact then take a new form?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to disclosure, and it's not just about that there's craft in the sky and, suddenly, we're going to get information that says that these craft are based in extraterrestrial activity.
Yeah. So I guess if there is anybody out there watching this who's struggling with the sorts of things we've been talking about, with their experiences relating to extraterrestrial contact, and who wants to maybe know a bit more about our backstory. We've got a lot of interviews and podcasts available on various other channels.
Well, yeah, some of those channels are Grant Cameron's UFO podcast. We're doing a range of interviews for Grant. Walter Rucker on YouTube as well. Julie McVeigh on An Ordinary Made Ordinary. There's about 3 or 4 interviews on Julie's channel, which is quite informative and has a lot of good content as well. And of course, on our own YouTube channel, we've got these videos as well as podcasts, plus our own website.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that people can read.
Yeah, and that's also got links to some free books, non-free books, and study guides that I've written as well.
But if you want to get in touch, then our contact details are on the website
as well.
Yeah.
It's just interesting, just from a final point, how we are being contacted. I'm being contacted through Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, a whole range of social media platforms. And some of the questions are just, quite simple to answer and don't take any more than a few minutes.
Yeah.
Others require where you have to actually sit down and talk to the person for an hour or two and really start to work out what's going on so that they can get some sort of ongoing method for dealing with it. You notice I didn't say closure. You don't get closure with this. You just get ongoing contact. But what we seek to do is to support people into actually connecting with the beings themselves so that ultimately they have their own clear cognitive contact that they can evidence for themselves as well.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking more about this in the future. So just be aware that we'll be doing vlogs every week, and that we'll be picking up different subjects that we'll be talking about as well. Thank you very much.